What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is the beginning of a very fun series about my Century. Now, I've been dying to work on this car ever since I got it, but I wanted to enjoy it in its stock form for a while just because it's such a good car the way it is. But I knew the kid in me needed to eventually start modifying this thing, and this is the start of that. First thing right off rip that I want to get out of the way, because you're probably going to see it in this video, is I got a tattoo. I'll show it to you guys right here. It's kind of hard to see, but I've been meaning to get tattoos forever, and I finally bit the bullet and started, and I enjoyed it a lot, actually. I was very surprised. I filmed a tiny bit. Me and Sam filmed a tiny bit when we were at the tattoo shop. I'll insert that footage now in case you guys wanted to see it.
All right, man. You ready?
Ready.
Your face didn't even cringe, that's good.
It's not that bad. I was anticipating it being a little worse. But you're right, it's like an annoying pain. It's not...
You're like, never mind.
Closer to the wrist is a little more painful, but it's tolerable.
I was gonna say, just wait until you get to the wrist.
Start doing your hands, you're gonna want to kill yourself.
Yeah. Starting on David now. First tattoo experience, not terrible. Weird feeling, but not really painful. It's also the area where it's at, but I'm so excited. All right, final product. Shit looks so cool. I have the statue of David here, and then a really nice rose that wraps around the side of my arm. I'm gonna be going back in probably 2 weeks or so to finish the rest of my forearm, and then I'll start working on the rest of my sleeve. But the end goal is both arms, chest, everything. Just, I've had the vision for a long time. I'm finally starting it. I'm very excited. If you guys remember in the last video, our friend Tyler stopped by. Tyler's back again. He's gonna be helping us today.
Helping.
He brought his BMW, which is absolutely beautiful. You want to say anything about it?
2013 comp.
Yeah.
Bags, gram lights, Recaros, the basic BMW setup.
It's very easy to go overboard with these things, but I love the aesthetic that you have here, and the gram lights fit it really, really well. He's also a violent boy. I technically still am. I just haven't been active in the chat for a long time.
I've seen you active, I'm not gonna lie.
It's been a minute. I joined Violent when I was, I think, like 20 with the Del Sol. OG Violent boy. But it's cool. It's cool to see this thing. We're gonna start working on this thing, but I need to clean it because the pollen has started down here months early, and this thing is disgusting. So I'm gonna hose it down real quick, get it clean, and then we'll take it in the shop and start all the fun stuff. Okay, today is the day that we are going to finally start installing the new air suspension on the Century. Before I get into that, I just want to make a quick mention that the new NSX Low Cars High Standards hoodies and t-shirts are live on the website. They went live last Wednesday. They're doing very well. There's a very limited stock of them left, so if you guys did not pick one up, hit the link in the description, pick up one of them, as well as one of the awesome 6-inch decals that I have on there from the site. I know you guys will love them. They're shipping out immediately, and I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, today is the big day that we are starting the air suspension on the Century. These cars came factory on air suspension already, but there is no adjustment. So to combat that, I hit up Airlift, and of course, they were down to work with me once again. So huge, huge shout out to Airlift Suspension. They sent me everything that I need to install some new suspension on this car, including this awesome little plaque here, which is sick. Now, you guys saw me do this on the NSX last year, and that was the first time that I actually installed air suspension completely by myself, and it went a lot easier than I expected. This car is gonna be a little bit more technical, so I'm gonna go a little more technical in detail about stuff as I'm installing it, because there's a lot of do's and don'ts that'll make things easier when you're installing your airlift suspension on your car. Airlift is one of the best, and I'm gonna leave a link in the top of the description for you guys to go check out Airlift. See if they have anything for your car. Chances are they do. You won't be disappointed. So me, Tyler, Sam, we went to Home Depot earlier today and picked up the stuff that we need to build the trunk setup. I'm gonna do the trunk setup first on this car. You can see Sam over there. She's like, I don't want to be in the video right now. Anyways, we got plywood. The last time that I got wood, I used MDF, but MDF will actually absorb water if you get any moisture in your trunk. So if you want to use something that's not going to do that, you can get plywood. I just got 1/4 inch. I'm going to go over the idea that I have for the trunk setup for this car. Like I said, I don't like anything too elaborate. So this car is going to be a very clean, simple, stealthy setup that'll look really nice if I ever pop the trunk. So my plan is, I took the spare tire out. I'm gonna get some insulation down here for the air compressors so that they can live down here and not vibrate the entire car. I have the carpet out the car right now and the plywood under it. Sam already traced out the outside edge of the carpet so that when I cut it, it'll fit nice and tight right along the back in here. I'm gonna utilize the factory carpet to hide the wood, and I'm gonna bolt the tank through the carpet to the wood so that all you can see is the tank. It'll look really clean, really simple, and I'll still have tons and tons of trunk space. I found the jigsaw. Also, look at this friggin' wheel. This has never been out of the car before. The shit is literally brand friggin' new. I'm like kind of blown away by it. Still has like clear coat on it and everything. It's really cool. But this is the line that Sam cut out. So I'm gonna trace that, and then this should just butt up and fit up in the car. Real nice.
I hate it here. I hate it here. Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's go.
OSHA approved for sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thankfully, this is the only dirty thing that I think we have to do.
Can I sign this?
Sign away.
Don't record this. Don't record my handwriting. I'll wait. Don't worry. I'll wait.
Everyone should sign it, honestly. Group effort.
Looks great.
You signing next, Sam?
Yeah. It's really hard to write on this, actually.
We should put him in there somewhere.
Very nice.
Hold on.
We got the wood cut. It's in the trunk. We'll show you in a second. But right now, I'm going through the flow tank that Airlift supplies, which is a really nice brush tank with CNC ends. They're like super well made. They have fittings and stuff already in there. I'm setting up the mounts, and it's nice because I have the NSX in here, because when I did that, I remembered I ran into an issue that I didn't want to do with this, and that was the drain port on this side I had facing straight down, and I can't access it in the NSX, and I don't want to do that this time, so I'm going to have it mounted facing in the back so I can reach it and actually use it if I ever want to work on this thing and drain the air. So I'm doing that. I'm mounting the mounting brackets that they supply with the flow tank, and I'm gonna find the perfect area on the piece of wood to mark this out, and then get this mounted, and then we can start installing the fittings and getting everything good to go there. We only need one port for each side, so the others just get covered up. It's very easy, but I'll show you guys.
You look like you know the guy from Dodgeball, the like villain, quote unquote.
The what?
The villain, quote unquote, from Dodgeball.
Oh yeah.
That's who you look like.
Hell yeah. I hate you. I hate it here. I'm going home.
There you go.
I'm gonna make sure that both sides are loose. That way I can have this as flat as possible.
Loose and a goose.
Just like settle it, make sure that it's not going to be sitting weird. And then I'll fully tighten them down.
Shut up, White Goodman.
Bro. God.
Yeah, we'll just find like the perfect spot on the piece of wood. Yep. I got plenty.
Oh, I'll give you some more. It's not much, but it's honest.
Welcome to the wood bank. Bread bank. We got bread on deck. I have an idea for it to mount back here just like this. And the carpet will be over this. I just want to find the perfect place. That way I can make my marks, drill my holes, and then I'll poke a couple holes through the carpet. Don't kill me. It's a carpet. The real reason why I'm drilling through the carpet is because there was no way that I was gonna be able to get a piece of plywood big enough to fit in this thing without cutting it. So that's why this is not the correct size, but it works. It'll be perfectly fine. I'm gonna find center, make holes, get this thing all good to go, and then we can start putting the fittings in.
Alright, it's down.
I don't trust you.
I put it away. I don't freaking care anymore.
Ow! God damn it.
So, I just got my holes drilled. These should be perfectly centered for the tank to sit in the back. My original plan of putting the compressors under the wood is probably not going to work just because the length of the hose coming off the compressor is not long enough. So I'm going to mount the compressors up top just like I did in the NSX, and they'll probably sit in front just like this, but it'll be plenty of room in this trunk. It's gigantic as opposed to that trunk, which is incredibly small. It's going to be a very, very simple trunk setup, but it's going to look nice. It'll be simple, clean, which is like my favorite thing. I'm going to see if this drill bit works.
Sick.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's wood. Wood came out of it. Okay, some time has gone by, but I have the rear trunk setup and everything kind of mocked up and in place. I have both air compressors hard mounted, the tank is hard mounted, all of the lines and fittings that I don't need are plugged, and everything that I do need is ready to go when we do put the lines in. So, dual air compressors, the 444C air compressors. These are like one of the best. I believe there might be one that's a little bit better, but these will work perfect for this car. I have this in the NSX, I have them in the Soarer. They're awesome compressors. Over here, we have the feed line for the manifold that will come out of the tank. That goes straight down. These are both obviously for the compressor. This was an extra hole that I plugged. Over here, I plugged this other hole, and then obviously this is for the other compressor. So these feed the tank. Air comes out of the tank through this to the manifold, and everything works. The next thing that we need to do is we're gonna take this wheel and tire.
My bad, Chief.
We're gonna take this wheel and tire and we're gonna set it on the second piece of plywood that we have over there and trace out a perfect circle that can fit in the trunk with him. And that's gonna be where the manifold, like the computer, is gonna live. It's gonna live under the setup. So usually you'd like to see the computer and the whole management system above, but I think just seeing the tank and compressors will be really clean. So here is the Airlift management system. Comes with 6 ports here and fittings for all of them. What's really nice is that they also label the management. Front left, front right, rear left, rear right, rear tank and exhaust. Jesus. Moral of the story is they're labeled. It's really easy to install and just remember. So, children.
No. I'm thinking. This isn't good. It's really low.
This isn't good, he says.
How about we put it on that?
All right. You get on all fours, and we'll just put it on your back.
Welcome to my YouTube channel.
We're so sorry.
What'd you say?
I like holding wood.
I said he got a splinter.
Tyler, what'd you say?
I like holding wood.
I got a splinter you can hold.
Wow, your hand there had me really nervous.
I'll go get the real
It's
thing.
the Three Stooges.
Oh, dumb, dumber, and dumbest.
Who's Larry Curly?
Larry, I would say Larry, Moe, and Curly over here. You ready for your close-up? Ready for the... Oh, yeah.
Pudding set up in the trunk, just like this. Thankfully, the wood is not as big, so it should just like that. Get that all sandwiched. Look at that. There we go. That is nice and clean.
That does look good.
Really, really like that.
That actually looks great.
It's really nice. So I've also decided that there ain't no smart area to mount the manifold under everything, and it's nice because you get to see the airlift plaque and all that stuff right up top, and it doesn't take up any additional space. So we're gonna do that. The piece of wood that I cut, I misjudged because I figured cut it around the tire, it's gonna fit because that's what it's meant to fit, but there's wiggle room. So I didn't account for that. I'm gonna decide whether I want the manifold to face forwards or face backwards and have the lines kind of run backwards down into the trunk. Either way, the plaque can be taken off and flipped so that it's facing the right way. I really, really like this. It's super clean and just like exactly my style. It's not over the top, it's just very simplistic, and I like things being easily serviceable. It's easily adjustable. If you have any routine maintenance that you want to do, like draining the tank, draining water and stuff like that out, you can always do that. You could always do hard lines and crazy setups like that, and I've had those setups in the past, but I've grown to like the simple and clean stuff. So that's the plan. I'm gonna get some nice shots of this, and then we're gonna pick this up tomorrow and probably start on the struts and get all that stuff off so that we can run the lines, figure out where the lines need to go, and then we can get this stuff permanent in here, harness, all that stuff. It'll all come together pretty quick. So I'm excited. Morning, it's the next day, and we have the Century back in the shop on the lift this time. I think the plan that I want to do is get everything done minus the struts first, because once I start doing the struts, everything with this car becomes immobile at that point. So I want to get all the little things done before we take the struts out, swap those, and then after that it's just basically plug and play. So right now I have the Century on the lift so that I can figure out a good way to run the new airlines for each strut. You can see up in there, that is the factory bag, and that's where the airline runs. It runs out through there. However, there's also grommets in the trunk, 2 on this side and 2 on this side, that are in the perfect area for the airlines to run through straight to the new manifold. So I think I'm going to utilize those 4 grommets. 2 of them will be for the back wheels, 2 of them will be for the front wheels, and then the airlines themselves I can run inside of these rails here. I think one of these is fuel, one of these is brake, or combination of the both, whatever. But that'll be easy. You can run airlines in a car, you can run them outside of a car. There's not really that big of a difference unless you're in like a really harsh climate. I run them on the outside of the NSX and I've had 0 issues, so I'm not worried. I'm gonna do the same thing with this car. I opted for 1/4-inch airline once again, just because 3/8, while it works good, airs up and down really, really, really quick, which I like the slow, gradual feeling of 1/4-inch airline. So yeah, I'm gonna take this, measure out each piece, get them ran up into the trunk, and then I think after that I'm gonna start working on the wiring harness and get that ran as well, so that that's knocked out of the way. That way everything is in the trunk ready to go, and then we can start doing the struts. So I got the 2 back airlines ran and they are good to go. I left like 3 feet of room in the trunk to just have some extra line. You can see the new line is up there. Ran through the grommet here. So back is done, that was easy. I'm gonna run the fronts and I'm gonna use the fuel rails and brake rails. So I'm gonna take these little covers off. I'm gonna run the line down through here, zip tie it to everything out of the way of anything hot, and then straight up to the struts. So shouldn't be that bad. Okay, so I guess technically the passenger side front is done. The left front is done, the lines ran. We dropped this plastic cover here, ran the line all the way up. It's all zip tied out of the way, away from anything hot. We snaked it behind the heat shield, running up this way, up over the rear subframe, up over anything that moves, and then straight to the second grommet on the left side. So now I'm gonna do the same exact thing and do it on the driver's side and run everything all the way up. It's very straightforward. I've had no issues so far and everything's just going to plan, so.
You said this fucker right here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit, it's off.
Pry it and pop it down.
Pry her and pop her down.
Yep. Come on, Toyota Tech.
I don't like.
There you
making
go.
your shit.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So exactly the same thing on this side. Run the airlines with the lines here all the way to the back, and we're good to go.
Airline. All right. Hey. Line.
What incarnation?
So we have the line ran on the driver's side down the fuel rails here all the way. It'll get tucked up behind this plastic, and then I'm gonna run it along this little pinch weld here up to the strut. Easy peasy. Should be done in 5 minutes, and then we can start doing the harness stuff. Okay, all the lines are ran. You can see them in here in the trunk. They're all labeled left front, right front, rear, all that stuff. So we know where everything goes. Here is the trunk setup. So very minimal, very clean looking. I really like it. We flipped the Airlift logo around so that it's facing forwards. And what's nice about the Airlift manifolds is each port is labeled. So we know exactly which one goes to what. This is the tank, this is the exhaust. So when you air out, the air will come out of this one. This is for the tank feed. And then the other 4 are for the struts. So very easy, very straightforward, very easy to follow along. But now we're at the part where we're doing the wiring, and it was very easy to do on this car because it has a dummy transmission tunnel and I was able to run everything through it, no problem. This thing though, no.
It's scaring me.
It's kind of terrifying.
I have no idea how to get these back seats out.
Neither do I. I know how an LS400 back seat comes out, but these recline, massage, heated, so they have to come out and then we can actually get everything snaked through here.
I was feeling around and I was like, maybe we can just pop it out. And then I felt the slider rails and I was like, I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna do some research and hopefully find someone that's done this before, and hopefully we can get the back seats out without ruining something. So I did some research and it's literally the same way as an LS400. You just grab the front and give it a yank and it just pops right out. And now you can see the whole system, the whole motorized system that's under here that allows this to recline. If I lift up here, you can see all of the electronic components and everything that this thing works by. That's fucking insane. Is it a rubber band? Don't need that. There's probably more that we can find in here, honestly. But yeah, so I think I'm only gonna pop one side off, because as long as I can get to the grommet that's behind here, I can run the harness through the grommet and under the seat and everything and get it to the front of the car, because I'd love to not have to take everything out. So I'm gonna work on getting this back section off, or at least this third of the back section off, see if I can get to that grommet, and then we can fish the wiring harness through. Okay, update. Rear seats, Toyota Century, not fun to take out at all. All the electronics, all the wiring harnesses, everything, definitely huge nightmare. But we finally figured it out. There was absolutely no research available to look up for this car, so we just kind of went and did what we could and eventually figured it out. Had to like undo half the bolts on the bottom and then push the seats down on the rails that they recline on to expose the rest of the bolts, and then realized that we couldn't take that seat out first. We had to do these first before that one could come out. Yeah, huge not fun. And I can't take that out because there's just way too much. So we're gonna leave this seat resting right here, and I'm going to now pop this top cover off so that I can get access to the struts and the rest of the stuff. My main goal right now was to run the wiring harness for the air suspension. So we're gonna do that, but we had to expose this too so that we could get the struts out. So this was fun. This was not fun, but it's done, so that's good. We found ourselves a little JDM lighter in the back seat. Moving on to the harnesses now. I got the harness ran through the passenger side of the car and is chilling in the trunk right now, but I'll show you where it's coming out of. There's this little port right here where the main harness runs down for the airbag and everything. I snaked it through there, under here. It's gonna follow this harness along. It's gonna go under this pillar, under the front pillar, and then eventually up into the hood. All this harness consists of is the USB for the controller, power and ground, and an accessory wire to run a fuse to in the fuse box, so that when you turn the car on, it kicks power onto the whole system. So
if you're thinking about building a Century, don't.
It's definitely a whole lot more work than we were anticipating, but this thing is like the top tier luxury car from Japan, so it's gonna have some hurdles and shit to jump through, but it's cool. It's gonna be sick when it's done. I'm gonna work on getting this harness ran all the way through. Cam's got his persuasion bar. We're gonna get it done. Okay, it's getting towards the end of the day and end of the video, but I wanted to leave off on this last little section. That could be kind of annoying, but it worked out pretty well for me. So I have both harnesses ran. One, the main harness for the manifold and everything, and the second harness for the air compressor, the second air compressor. This little pink wire here is the accessory wire for the controller, and that requires you to tap into one of your fuses that turns on only when ignition power is on. You don't want to use a fuse that has constant power because it'll start drawing power from the car, and then the car will die over time. With the kit, they supply this little jumper harness here with a connector on the end and little tiny piece of brass that you would sandwich in between a fuse, and it would pull power while still having the fuse, and you could use this. The fuses in my fuse box were very weird, and I could not use that little fitting that they gave to jump into the fuse. So thankfully we had a jumper fuse laying around, which basically goes in the position of where the fuse would be. This is my alternator fuse, and then has a wire running out that you can connect to the accessory wire. So it's basically the same thing, just a little bit cleaner. And I have all of this ran, heat shrinked, good to go. And that means that we are done with the fuse box shit. So I'm gonna put all that stuff back together, and then I'm gonna get both power wires ran to the battery for the management and the compressors, and then we'll be good there. Everything's done, everything's wired up. I don't have the battery connected yet because obviously we still have other stuff that we have to do, but fuse box panel back on, battery, everything's hooked up, heat shrinked, good to go. So once we start into the next video, which will be putting the struts in, finishing the airlines, getting the trunk setup in, getting the car in the ground, calibrating the whole system, and seeing this thing aired out for the first time. Everything will be ready to go. This was part one. Part two should be out shortly after this, hopefully. We're gonna use this weekend to knock this thing out and get this thing done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm extremely excited to see this thing aired out. Once again, huge shout out to Airlift Performance for sponsoring this video, sponsoring this series that we are doing on this car. Without them, I couldn't have done it. And be sure to click the link in the description and check out their website. See if they have anything that you need for your car. They're one of the best, most reliable air suspension companies out there, and I know you'll be happy with it. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.